the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the king of podcasts radio network, proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
In all the time I've done this program, you can expect me to be pretty critical of WWE when they deserve it. Listen, since all the goodwill we've given them because of how WrestleMania turned out this year, we're now a couple of months removed. Okay, we had the Backlash show in France. We had the Clash at the Castle in Glasgow, Scotland this past weekend. So you have those matches set right. You know, you can kind of work around and you can finagle and do some rematches or do a couple of things just to kind of like work your way up to some of the more important pay-per-views coming up. So for WWE right now, they have Money in the Bank and SummerSlam coming up. So they need to go ahead and not just put out the same old stuff, because now they're going to be coming back into going to Canada to put out the show for Money in the Bank in Toronto. And then they're going to go ahead and go to Cleveland for SummerSlam. Like, all that there is coming up. And if I'm correct, I don't believe they have another show coming up in between those two. Won't be anything in between. So again, Money in the Bank coming up July 6th, SummerSlam August 3rd. And that right there leads us into things coming up. So they got to set up some actual serious things coming up in storyline for those shows. Money in the Bank, you need to establish who those potential stars in the making. Okay, it's very important. Now, Money in the Bank, you get 5 or 6 stars on each the women's and men's side that are serious contenders. That if you were to consider putting them with the briefcase and have the chance for them to go ahead and go forward and become champion if they cash in, all right? You got to think about that. As I said, there were a number of things that happened at WrestleMania that worked really well. There's no doubt about that. But that withdrawal is coming in pretty clear right now. You had the draft. You had the stars you've brought in. What have they done so far? What have you done for me lately? Okay. And then when you get some of these stars you're bringing back because they're back from injury. So Seth Rollins is back. CM Punk eventually is going to be coming back to wrestle. And then you're going to get them involved and incorporated into things. So you got that working for you. But then what they're going to be planning to do, setting up for those storylines, because they set up a lot of things, a lot of hot shot booking coming out of Clash of the Castle on Monday Night Raw. We're not even talking about what they're doing with SmackDown yet. SmackDown, CM Punk's going to come out. He's going to respond. Now, the fact that he doesn't have Drew McIntyre to deal with because he quit. Which, you know, if you go back in the lore of wrestling history, this is where the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels storyline went. That Shawn quit. So like, there's that part too that can go into of what they're trying to do. Are they really just replicating a storyline? Because I remember the Clique actually was a part of that. See, what you have to understand is this too. And I'm going to explain it like this. So you know who killed WCW in the second part of the series on Vice? When Kevin Nash, right, was given the chance to book the show. When Eric Bischoff, under the tutelage of Hulk Hogan, when they decided to go on their own initiative of how to book the shows, we saw what happened with that. Top factions became watered down and they lost their focus. And then some of the other stars they brought on up that were being used was a lot of favoritism amongst them as to who should be up towards the top. For the most part, it was a lot of veterans, right? Mid-Carders, the luchadors, no. Cruiserweights, put by the wayside. Some of the other stars they had that could have been moved up to that main event weren't being put up there yet. So some of that's going on. But now in this story here, you have veterans that are some of the indie darlings, some of the NXT favorites amongst Shawn Michaels and Triple H. when you see the way that where NXT and the both Raw and SmackDown programs are being booked, I'm going to start referring it to as DX booking. We could also refer to it as the Click booking. Remember, these are the folks that kind of controlled how the way things were. Now, their ideas, for like DX and how they were positioned 25 years ago, yeah, that was definitely trend-setting. It was definitely during a very competitive time for WWF. But some of the same ideas that they did during the Attitude Era or during the heyday of some of the best years of WWF or WWE, we're bringing those back now. Okay? When I look at the Drew McIntyre CM Punk angle, it is an offshoot of Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. It's looking like that. The Liv Morgan Dominik Mysterio angle is feeling like something out of the Attitude Era. Having a woman going kit in the middle of things with another woman's man. Things like that. Also very ECW-esque, if you ask me. So, if Paul Heyman's involved in that, I wouldn't be surprised. But there's a part of this where there's still a loss of direction. Now, does it matter if things don't have complete context and that some of the things fall flat on television because, of course, the TV's not going to make that much of a deal? Or that's all be done backstage? Maybe. Social media can cover that all up. But I'm still trying to figure out what they're trying to do here and if it does really work or not. And that's the part I'm not sure if I feel like if I feel like it does. And that's the other part I'm really kind of trying to get myself around about. And I want to know. I want to realize if there's something there that I should keep an eye on and like that I'm not happy about. Because it could very well be that way with what they're doing right now. All right, so right off the bat, again, Seth Rollins comes back. You get him to go and take on Damien Priest now. Instant world title match at Money in the Bank. Okay, you set that up. Fine. You can make a storyline out of that. Damien Priest needs an opponent. Okay, problem solved. Then you have Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio, Rhea Ripley. This storyline is something from the 90s. It would be one thing if we had something here where, I don't know, if there was something more here that would make a bit of a difference. Like, if who was trying to infiltrate or get their revenge on would be a little bit more likable. I know people do have a big thing over Liv Morgan. I don't necessarily have that because I'm trying to go past, the looks. I'm trying to go ahead and look more into, does she give me the feeling like, oh, this like Dominik Mysterio should be really like smitten by her? Has anything happened so far where he feels like there's much going on here? They've really kept everything under wraps. They have not explained anything that happened as to when Dominik and Liv were spending time with each other. You hear very little about it. It's all been teasing and toying around, and that's it. And just been Jay trying to go ahead and protect him and getting upset. Well, why are you involved with her? Why are you unzipping your jacket off of your vest? There's all these things. And I want to figure out if you can get something here where, it feels like there's something that makes me feel like we're getting somewhere. Again, we have no Rhea Ripley to speak of in that storyline. And I've set this up and talked about it way too many times. And like I said, the love triangle's been always done where there's two guys and a girl. And now it's one girl, where Rhea Ripley is basically, not even involved in this so far. Like, where's the stir up for that? The thing is, we have to wait for a long payoff. For what's really going to matter in this storyline is when Rhea Ripley comes back and she attacks Liv Morgan and goes back after the title. That's it. But has Liv Morgan defended that title? I think she has once. Maybe. But that's it. And then after that, we haven't really done much else to move anywhere forward where Liv Morgan has a program with anybody after Becky Lynch. They haven't answered that yet. I mean, we need to have something going on there. But Liv Morgan being used here as a prop in a storyline with Judgment Day, it diminishes what she's doing as the women's world champion. Like, we need to have her doing something there. We're going to stall for how long and wait for Rhea Ripley to come back and then start that feud. That's the part I'm trying to get to. Because I don't feel like, remember, Dominik has done nothing wrong here anyway. We could try to assume he's done something, behind the scenes, but there's been nothing in storyline that makes us feel like he has betrayed Rhea Ripley. He's not acting like he's guilty. He's not acting like he's trying to hide something, because he's not. Like, I don't see what the story is right here. That's what I want to go and figure out. And then we move along into Sami Zayn. First of all, the Alpha Academy aftermath. What a weak way to come back from that. You get Maxine and Akira and Otis out in the ring. Another chastising by Otis, by Chad Gable. And let's figure this out here. Okay, so when Otis gets upset about Maxine having her crutch taken away from her and kicking her out of the ring and sending her away, well, Otis then will eventually just quit. But he doesn't attack Chad Gable. He threatens to attack, but then walks away and carries off Maxine. That's it. And then Otis is the one that says, we're out. That's how we're going to end it? I mean, Chad Gable gets no retribution of this. There's no payback on this. And the breaking up doesn't happen in the ring. It happens backstage. Just a horrible payoff. It's a horrible payoff for Chad Gable. Like, he's the heel. Where's his retribution? He should have gotten screwed over. No, he gets screwed over by the Wyatt Six. Help me understand that part. But we'll get to the Wyatts in a moment. There's a lot to be said about that. A lot. And then we need to move on and get Sami Zayn a new contender now. And it's Bron Breakker. It's like, all right, so Bron Breakker's the guy they want to go ahead and bring up in front of this. Okay. And then, by the way, Chad Gable wants to go after the title again. And he wants to go, maybe he wants to go after the Money in the Bank briefcase, I think is right. So, and he can become champion. That's his plan to go after that. And he deals with Strowman. And Strowman, it's like being just used as a prod, going after Gable. And then same thing after Judgment Day. Like, come on. And then Bron Breakker and Sheamus are trying to go ahead and approach for the IC title. Sheamus has had how many times to go after the IC title when it was Gunther having the belt? Or even before that? And now we're going to get Sheamus back in there again here, and then go ahead and have him, Bron Breakker. You're putting Bron Breakker into a real quandary. Because the Bron Breakker, you've been squashing matches with him for a while. You got him going to take out Ricochet, take care of Ilya Dragunov. All right. And now we're going to move him up to Sheamus and then give him an IC title shot. And that's the part I'm like, man. And then obviously, again, the Insta feud, Bron Breakker and Sheamus, let's just give it that match right now. Give it away. The give it away stuff, so often here. Listen, we're starting to see the very clear lineation between what WWE does and what AEW does. AEW, I love the fact that they always give us matches the following week. They give us some time to get anticipation and wait for a match to come together. Hey, just because Will Ospreay and now Brian Cage are going to go after each other, well, okay, great. But they wait until Collision. Fine. And all the matches they got setting up for Forbidden Door, which they've clearly have filled the card, and they're set to go. And they've got a lot of things already built up towards that. We'll talk about Dynamite a little bit. And then, with some of the matches, we get all the talk about Alba Fire and Aladon as tag champions now. We see nothing from Bianca and Jade so far. And Shayna Baszler and Sonya Zark are looking to go after Alba and Isla. Fire and Ice, as Vince Russo calls them. And then you give us a match with Dragon Lee and Carlito. Carlito like a sore thumb with the Judgment Day. Do we understand how ridiculous this all looks? Why Carlito's like kind of earing this faction, trying to do something with them? And the match we really don't care about because of the fact it's all about Liv and Dominik and the whole dealing with that. And then Drew McIntyre quitting. And everybody being upset about the fact that he just like quit, walked away. Where are we going with this? So Drew McIntyre is going to just break down and just go away? I mean, do we know if it's probably the thing where, okay, his wife, we hope she's doing much better and she's recovering okay from emergency surgery over the weekend. If that's the reason why he's going away, all right, well, then they're going to find a way to get him out of the storyline. Fine. What are you going to do? They set this up. So right now we have nothing else they're going to do with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. CM Punk now has to respond back about all this. Where are we going to go? Damage Control is all upset because now Kate and Carter Katana Chance get a win. And Io Sky once again gets all deranged, saying that Damage Control needs to change or she'll change it. All right. Bron Breakker and Sheamus, and we don't even get the finish to it because of Ludwig Kaiser. Okay. Fine. So we don't have anything set up for the IC title. There is no opponent for the IC title. And I don't know what they're going to do with that yet, but like Sami Zayn, do they want to give any kind of consideration about what they're going to do with that IC title? They always have, they've actually been pretty consistent about having someone set up and ready to go for the next title shot for most of their title holders. Like we already know for sure that, okay, we already got things set up with, LA Knight and Logan Paul. We got that set up. Cody, we're going to get something set up where they're not going to give him another title shot, another title match right now. They're going to go and set things up with Bloodline, probably a 6-man tag. Okay. But there's like plans, some of them in place. And with Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser, okay, we're going to go to this again. Fine. But do we want Bron Breakker to go right up there now and take on Sami Zayn? Do we want that right now? It feels premature. That he's the one getting the push. But I don't think they've done enough to really make him really come out as anything big. And at this point in time, is he going to be the person they're going to just have him upset Sami Zayn and take the IC title off of him after that long reign that Gunther had? I mean, where's Bron Breakker getting some feuds under his belt to move him forward? Or are we just going to consider his NXT run and that's the reason why we're going to do it? They don't mention much about his NXT run. It's just what he's doing right now here and his deal with Adam Pearce. But there's such a light storyline in here, such a light detail, no dimension, no real details at all. They really even talk about the fact of his lineage to the signers. They don't even say that much about it. A little bit, but a little bit. And that's it. Karrion Kross and the New Day. Who is caring about this? This is where Karrion Kross has come. Like he's, towards the bottom of the barrel here. Final Testament. I mean, they are insignificant right now. Nothing about them goes on at all. But that's what they're doing with this. Jey Uso is going to go to Money in the Bank. Okay, so we're going to give him somewhere. I can see where Jey Uso becomes Money in the Bank winner and gets the briefcase. They should do that. Let's give him something to do. Jey Uso with the Money in the Bank briefcase will give him something that will be significant for him. So I don't have a problem with that at all. I would like to go and see Jey Uso actually win that. Give him something to do, man. Why is he being left back there in a singles run where he's so over right now and they don't have him doing anything? Like, what are we doing right here? So Jey Uso wins, and then we get the Wyatt 6. Now, this is the thing I got to think about right here. Okay, this obviously got a bump in the ratings to the not overrun, right? It's just a matter we see, okay, they're all here. So 5 members. And the lights go out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get further along the Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse thing. Do you understand the implications here? The implications that you're going to go ahead and, stick your neck out here with the DX booking right now to further the story of Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse. So the cartooniness that we had before, and then they went and tried to switch him around before he unfortunately chose not to stay in this earth anymore. We're going to further that storyline along. The Uncle Howdy character coming back, we're getting the whole Contra unit. I'm going to call it Contra unit, okay? That's just what it is. You're not going to like me saying this either. Contra unit and MLW by far has been a much more formidable force. It was a better done storyline. It's a copy. When I look at the Wyatt Six, I think of Five Nights at Freddy's. All the rampage going on backstage, and all these characters in real life suits. So we're supposed to go ahead and, of everything that they go on with NXT and the way that the WWE is already set up as a real sport, right? Combat sport, all that. The same people that give us Battleground, or they give us Underground, or, they give us the real sports feeling of what they're doing right now, the ESPN style production elements and the camera views and all this stuff and the overheads and all this, right? And then we're going to have the sports entertainment part. We're going to sprinkle the stuff that Vince would have done. We're going to decide to go ahead and put this storyline here in the middle of it, all over the place. A big wrench. We're going to just throw this into the mix and make this a major storyline that's going to supposedly encompass the entire company. And we've seen what they've been trying to do with certain brooding or mysterious or spooky kind of stars. Karrion Kross, the Final Testament, the Karrion Kross character was supposed to be like that. Yeah, Vince screwed it up, but the DX booking never got any better. It never got any better. They just attached it to more people. And then we go along and what? I mean, they tried to do the same thing over with Joe Gacy over with the with that faction over there. I forget the name of it now. And that wasn't anything special either. Like, have they really hit the nose on any of these type of horror characters so far? Chad Gable, of all people, is the one that's actually getting knocked out, and Gunther also being beaten. Like, this is what we're doing right now. And it's got to be done in the arena. Which, by the way, a lot of comments and criticism has been said, because when we saw Drew McIntyre decide to leave, we know that we saw Triple H, we know we saw Adam Pearce, they were in the back. Not too long around the time that this whole attack happened. All the stuff in gorilla position. You're telling me that we're not going to hear any kind of noise, any kind of ruckus at all during this that's going to make people go, find out what's going on in the back? We're not going to get any of that? It's a lot of suspension of disbelief. You're trying to really kind of get us out there to kind of really make us give you a little bit of room to breathe. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, I've heard enough people out there of different opinions saying what they want to say. It's like, oh, well, this didn't start off really great. It started off awesome, some people say. But what have I always said about this in this program, huh? What have I always said? It's not about how you start or finish. We got to have a middle. Where's a plot, okay? Have an idea how you're going to start it. Well, WWE always starts something pretty good. They started off a lot of good angles hot. But it's the follow through. It's the payoff at the end. Alpha Academy. Give it this long storyline right now, and the payoff was weak. It still leaves room for Otis and Maxine Akira to go ahead and come back into Chad's good graces because he got attacked, I guess. So maybe that story's not over yet. The whole story was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and he quits. The Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio Judgment Day storyline. Like Damien Priest, he's not getting any help from, Seth Rollins even made the point. Why do you need those guys for anyway? And then the Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio line. Okay, we got this storyline going on. Where's the payoff on this? We've been at this for a couple of months now. Liv Morgan started off, oh, great. Okay, she got Rhea Ripley hurt and then was able to go and beat Becky Lynch. All right, great start to the storyline. What else? We got that too. Now they set this up here where, look, I mean, the Nexus was one of the best examples ever, right? The Nexus taking down John Cena. We all remember that. This complete destruction. What a great start. But the Nexus completely fizzled. Retribution during the Thunderdome days, which this feels very much like Retribution. Don't tell me it doesn't. Remember, they tried to do the whole George Floyd, oh, look, these people that are all here in dark gear and masks, and they're all attacking people, random. And Retribution, how far did that go? That fizzled quickly in months. I listened to Vince Russo during his Monday Night Recap with Sportskeeda and Dr. Chris Featherstone. I listened to JD from New York. I listened to a few other people getting their thoughts on all this, right? Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, Wrestling Observer. I listened to a number of different angles to hear what they were going to say. It's not about how this starts. It's the follow through here. You are also putting a faction together. Let's not forget about who's behind the masks. Who's behind the costumes? Bo Dallas. Okay, the last time we saw him was the B team. Now we're supposed to go suspend disbelief and just completely think differently. We're not getting anything else in terms of where Uncle Howdy and the whole story about them coming to life and how Bray Wyatt had these as just puppets in the Firefly Funhouse. And at one point we started seeing the characters coming, to be a little bit more animated and come out in real life where the puppets actually came out to the ring. Now we're seeing the real life versions. Somehow, like Beetlejuice, they come to life. But let's look at the names we have here right now of the stars that are part of this storyline. Nikki Cross, along with Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, and Joe Gacy. We're not talking necessarily about like the stars that are going to be like giving us like these 5-star, 20-minute wrestling matches on pay-per-view. We're not getting that kind of stuff. Okay? This is not Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet. This is not, not Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. It's not that. This is, this doesn't do wrestling. Nothing to do with wrestling. It's sports entertainment. Which I'm sure a lot of people will already say, yeah, this is what Vince would do. Why are we doing something that Vince would do? Why are we going ahead with this? And it's being done in the arena. So just like that, without anything happening at all, you had a number of stars neutralized, rendered unconscious, backstage. Yeah, you got little sparks coming off the lights and all this stuff, and you see all the darkness in there, and you see the lantern. Ooh. Got it. Remember that at least the one thing we all enjoyed about the Bray Wyatt character in the latest form, when Vince was still running it, the Firefly Funhouse, those segments, when he was in that room and doing all the stuff that he did, up until the point that Seth Rollins set it all on fire, that was all really good. The Bray Wyatt match against Randy Orton, or, when they've done the stuff that was outside the ring, okay? I would say the Wyatt family against the New Day, because that was them trying to copy the Final Deletion. No, stop that. Stop it, okay? I mean, you got to think about the fact that it's one of those things you got to think about as well, where if I look at other organizations trying to do this here, trying to create these characters, besides The Undertaker or Kane, what have they really done this brooding horror stuff really well? Who else have they had out there that has really stood out? When I look at other organizations, MLW with Contra Unit, again, terrorist organization, infiltrating MLW. Mads Kruger, Joseph Samael, Jacob Fatu. Damn. TNA. You can take the Broken Hardys. You can give me, the Inner Realm, right? Everything with Rosemary and Havoc. And Father James Mitchell over there. Right now, I give the NWA. And Father James Mitchell managing the Miserably Faithful. Judias, Max the Impaler, Gags the Gimp, and Sal Vatlon. I mean, let me tell you, that's like another world of everything that's going on as well. Okay. Ridiculous. Okay. Father James Mitchell with Abyss. AEW to a point, I'll give them House of Black. I'll give them that. To a point, I will give them House of Black. Because he left House of Black alone. It's kind of like been left alone to other things, right? Like all these other organizations have done better in this realm, in this genre, going the horror route, going the thriller scared route. Like that right there, that's been their bag. But what they've all done in some way, shape, or form was always do something where it's not in the ring. Like there'll be matches in the ring eventually, but all the other stuff that was set up or built up outside the ring or outside the arena. Pre-taped. The Hardys going to the Hardy compound. Contra in some like back area, whatever, they got the flag back there. And all the stuff they're doing with that was like creating these like hostage videos almost like. Same thing goes for TNA and all the stuff they were doing with Rosemary and Havoc and all of that there. And Sue Young, all of that. It's just those shows, those people just do it differently. As we said, Bray Wyatt, at the very beginning, the Wyatt family, great gimmick. Created and fostered in NXT. They bring it up to the forefront here. And there was so much that was good about it that we enjoyed. When Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship, it felt like it jumped a shark. And, when they decided to bring him back, and they did the whole thing with the Jack in the Box with Alexa Bliss, and then we come back and we get, this here with Firefly Funhouse. I'm like, the Firefly Funhouse was just a nice segment, but it really didn't do much more for that character because his matches never really hit. But I mean, the Bray Wyatt character was loved and beloved. And because of his attachment to Bray Wyatt, because they're calling it the Wyatt Six, SICK number 6. The fact that they decided to go and do that. And now they're going to take the legacy of Bray Wyatt, of which I hope they don't screw this up because, listen, this guy, this creativity, I have a problem with it because it's Bray Wyatt's creativity. He's the one that made it. Might have taken a take off of Waylon Mercy, but still, it's his. It's his. And after he passes away, not even a year ago, we're going to go ahead and, resurrect this here. Yes, Bo Dallas, his brother, is part of storyline. And it's going to be the part that gets to be a part of this, which I guess originally was the plan that Uncle Howdy was going to be Bo Dallas in the first place, I guess. And they're going to decide to take all these brooding characters they had before. Okay. A lot of misfits that have not ever done well. Remember this. Eric Rowan was part of Wyatt family. So he, the fact that they brought him back and brought him to the mix. Yeah, makes sense. Dexter Lumis is a failed gimmick. NXT. It wasn't serious. It was a joke. It was a joke because then he got with Indy Hartwell, and there we go. Then we had the whole story of that. So it was like one of those storylines that would happen with Vince. Okay, if this doesn't work well, then we just use him as kind of almost like a comedy character. Dexter Lumis doing the Sam Smith role that he did in TNA when he's going after Christy Hemme, and that worked great. It was Sam Shaw, excuse me, but that was a weird gimmick, but it worked. Like Sam Shaw was a real the whole Patrick Bateman kind of feel to it off of that. Like that worked. It was pretty good. It was weird, but it worked, and people were into it. So to continue that character, nothing else new about Dexter Lumis. He just changed his name. But it's still the same character, same sweater, basically. Joe Gacy, you put him out there in that other setup, and like, listen, I know they've put a lot of time into Joe Gacy, and they're trying to do something with him. And, listen, he's not bad in the ring. He's gotten himself in better shape. All that. That's been great. Don't get me wrong. The schism. I don't even remember the schism. By the way, Sanity was another story, another one of these type of gimmicks. And they tried to bring them up to the main roster, and it failed miserably. Okay, we're getting factions. We're getting people that are part of factions that are no longer even there. Eric Rowan was part of a gimmick but he was let go. Remember they tried to put him and Brody Lee together in a separate faction, and they left. And then Dexter Lumis, another failed gimmick. Another failed faction, The Way. I mean, yeah, he's not really even part of The Way. It was just like kind of like that part. But it's like, that faction wasn't going to make anything of a difference. They're not going to bring that over into the main roster. It was never going to be like that. It was just a goof. Nothing against the wrestlers, but that whole storyline was never going to make all that right there with the wedding. That was never going to go and pass muster on the main roster. That was never going to be taken seriously. Joe Gacy, schism. You started him off as like this controversial cult leader, and then you kept changing him because of like some of the stuff that was being used that he couldn't use anymore because it was offending people. And so you had to go and change him and then change the group and then keep changing it and changing it. Ava's part of it. Now all of a sudden she's like converted into a general manager on NXT. Like, make that make sense of what they're doing right now. But that was a brooding gimmick as well. And it fizzled. So you got a lot of these land of misfits right now that have been in some failed gimmicks, right? And it's not like some of them have a good chance to maybe have a chance to succeed if you're given the chance. But Sanity never got a chance at all. And Nikki Cross is back in here now. They put her back in her Sanity character, and that was after the whole superhero thing. And now, okay, we're back to this, and now she's this new character. Again, this is recycling stars. All recycled stars. Hoping that this is going to take off. This is not, this is not what Wyatt family was. Bray Wyatt coming out of his deal away from Husky Harris, changed his look, and then turned into something else completely different. Again, he came out of a failed gimmick with Nexus. And then he comes in here, and now I'm saying to myself, okay, well, both houses here, and it's like, they brought him back. They brought him back after a long time away from the ring, doing all this. But everyone else on this faction has been a failed character, a failed gimmick. None of them have seen success. I mean, Eric Rowan, yes, with Wyatt family, but that's a long time ago now. And so now we bring this group together. So it's not going to be about the wrestlers and their individual characters are going to make a difference. It's got to be the storyline. It's got to be the mystique behind the Wyatt Six that's going to make this matter, that people are going to be excited about, that's going to scare people. It's going to make the locker room piss their pants because you're like, who are these people? What's going on here? The random attacks. And as I said, the same thing goes with Retribution and what they set up with that too. Another faction. That's not that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. Mustafa Ali being a part of it, remember? With some of the people they had in here, you get Mason here, the former Mason Madden, right? Then you bring in Slapjack, which is Shane Haste, T-Bar Donovan Dijak, Mia Yim, now Meeching, Reckoning. And I don't even remember Mercedes Martinez being part of this too, but yes, she was part of this too. Retaliation. It was something to do in the Thunderdome. By the way, the Thunderdome, if Retribution would have been put under, they would have never put this in front of fans. And the most important thing is that if the Wyatt Six comes out to the ring and the crowd sees them, the reaction they might be able to get, or they will get, like, you're going to have to keep these people hidden. The Mystique's going to have to be put, it's such a mystery that we're not going to know what to do with them. But Retribution didn't even last a year. And honestly, it was much more fizzled out more than you knew it. And by the way, Bray Wyatt attacked, as being the Fiend, he attacked all of Retribution. And so, like, all this here they're doing right now, it's like, it's bad. It's really, really bad. But they decided to go this route and say, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And Uncle Howdy comes out, grabs the lantern, we're here, and turns off the lantern. So, again, Nikki Cross is Sister Abigail. Rowan is Ramblin' Rabbit. Loomis is Mercy the Buzzard. Gacy is Huskus the Pig. Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy. All right. So when you bring these folks in here, they're all based on characters that were made in the Firefly Funhouse. They were all goofy characters. Now you're going to make them serious. And this is where some of the thing comes up where, okay, because even in like in the Inner Realm, or the Miserably Faithful, or, you know, the Rosemary Havoc stuff, like at least, or especially, oh my God, the Hardys, the Broken Hardys, there can be some campiness to this, which usually helps in these kind of horror things. Okay, if you're going to do wrestling storylines and make it a little bit campy, that might be a good idea. Listen, AEW tonight, all across the board, there's a lot of things they were doing with some of their main event storylines that had a little bit of campiness to it. Tony Storm and Mia Shikawa. I mean, damn, that's like full of campiness, but it's funny as shit. The Acclaimed, while they won their Eliminator match over the Young Bucks, and Okada hitting doing the audio engineering backstage, like that shit right there. It's a meme, and it's the funniest shit, man. Like, I mean, just they're making fun, like they're having fun over there, man. Don't take themselves seriously. This Wyatt Six thing is so serious right now. You remember the campiness had to happen to the way because, you know, Dexter Lumis had to become campy. What else are you going to do with him? Bray Wyatt having the campiness of the Firefly Funhouse, that helped. That actually helped. The Fiend character never really worked. But the Bray Wyatt character in the sweater in the Firefly Funhouse, we all love that. But the Fiend character never really worked. Especially when they put him in the ring. Just didn't work. And the red lighting, all that shit, we remember all that. If the DX booking crew wants to go ahead and try it again, have at it. You're going to try now. But you are taking your viewers, your WWE Universe, on a ride. And you know, all that goodwill that you had all through, you know, SummerSlam last year or 2 years ago, leading to now. No more Vince, right? Vince doesn't get the excuses on this. It's all DX booking crew. That's it. It's all on you. If you fuck this up, it's on you. If this gets fizzled away in about a month or two, it's on you. And you're going to spend significant time on television. On a storyline, by the way, which will not be just on Raw. I'm sure they're going to have it over on SmackDown, because they were teasing it on SmackDown as well throughout. And you teased this for months. Now you've brought it to light. I hope you have a plan on how to do this. Because I don't know how you're going to do it. I have no clue. And to be honest as well, you know, if Paul Heyman's even involved in this, if he is, I don't know if he is or not. But even Paul Heyman, when he did it, it was like, okay, it was Raven. He had the one character he was able to go and pull that off with. But where else? It's not like he was the kind of booker that would kind of do these kind of storylines as well. Same thing. So we're going to go here now, and they're going to try to pull this off. Hey, 1 million views on YouTube in under 12 hours, 2.5 million views on TikTok. Hey, man, you got the attention. You got people watching a little bit. It spiked the rating. Good for you. It's the follow-up. And the course of action of why they're here in the first place. Like, there's a lot to be explained right now. We have to give him time to try to do it. But I am not going to be one of those people that says, oh, we're just going to wait and see. No, I'm not doing this again. This company's not made to do these kind of storylines. They're just not. Hey, man, you had the anomaly of The Undertaker, and that worked great. And that paid off so many different ways. Okay? Let's be honest, okay? The Bray Wyatt thing, when he was doing with John Cena, like again, in 2020, the WrestleMania matches where Bray Wyatt took on John Cena, that setup, fantastic. That was fun. That was real fun. And then the Boneyard match. Again, it surpassed Final Deletion and passed any of the Hardy stuff that was ever done. That was one of the best things they ever did. In terms of having a brooding character of an Undertaker coming into the storyline here and attacking AJ Styles. That match, again, you can go back to it again. It still holds up so great. But you're telling me you're going to try to go ahead and take the legacy of Bray Wyatt. You're going to go ahead and pull this storyline off. You think you're going to be able to pull this off. And you're going to think that you're going to be able to go ahead and get people to go ahead and buy into these characters. Because there's nobody of real star power here at all in this storyline. This is just the characters that Bray Wyatt created. That's it, coming to life. The Uncle Howdy character that Bo Dallas is going to have to play, he's going to have to go ahead and get the essence of Bray Wyatt. That's a big task. That's an undertaking for him to go ahead and do. And you expect the Uncle Howdy character to be able to pull this off. It's a lot of faith putting on these stars right here to do something with. Like, you're not going to want to expect these stars to be wrestling. Let's make that clear too. Are there going to be wrestling matches with these? Yes. Are you expecting to see any real significantly amazing storylines where you have these wrestlers in these costumes facing off against other WWE superstars? Are anything going to be going to a title? They're going to be attacking. They're going to be just, running amok, causing chaos. But what else is there going to be done with this? Did anybody think that far ahead? I don't know. But I am really concerned about where they're going to go with this. And it doesn't feel good. And I'll tell you, Vince Russo, I don't know why, but the last couple of weeks I've been listening to him. And, listen, I mean, regardless of what you could say about him, his segment in part 3 of Who Killed WCW, and the fact that he says he was 80% better in promos than the rest of the WCW roster, that's up for argument. I like the Vince Russo character alone, but again, it was such a bad time. Like WCW was in such a shit show right then. There were still some good things to enjoy, but man, they were in such a bad way. For so many different reasons. Like, it was a train wreck, but an enjoyable train wreck. Just like TNA for all the years that Hogan and Bischoff were around. Yeah. And Dixie Carter running the business and letting, some of these other stars from WCW come back and get another chance at fame. Yeah. All that right there, that was horrible. It was a train wreck, but, I don't mind watching train wrecks. This right here, this is a train wreck. This storyline is a train wreck coming. Be ready for it. And am I going to damper, the hope of all you fans out there? Okay. Because I'm going to tell you this. Some of you that let this DX booking crew do what they're doing, okay, you're the same ones that praised the NXT Black and Gold that lost regularly to AEW Dynamite. I'm not going to be an apologist for anyone. But I would hope that all of you now will not become apologists for the WWE because you had to go ahead and defend Triple H. No, he doesn't get to be defended. It's a wrestler booking this major brand. And we've heard how many times when you have a wrestler booking a brand, he might be good for a while, but he might not be the best booker all the time. Plus, he inherited some good things that he was able to make the most of and make it better. That Bloodline storyline, let me tell you, to get to the point of Cody going to finish the story and beating Roman Reigns, that's fine with me with the Bloodline. But everything else he's done with the Bloodline so far, I don't care for any of it. The Bloodline didn't, honestly, I wish they weren't called the Bloodline. I wish they were called something else. They shouldn't be even involved with the Bloodline. It should be something else. Just another Samoan faction. That is another name that's going to go after the Bloodline, because the Bloodline right now is nothing. I would have preferred they said the Bloodline is dead right now. That Roman Reigns, the Bloodline left when Roman Reigns went away. Solo has a different faction here. And then you can make it another Bloodline. But to call Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, eventually Hikuleo, you're going to call them the Bloodline? No. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't pass the smell test. I just don't go for it. I don't like it. And that's something I really have to feel like is just wrong. I don't know what to think about this at all going forward. I really want to just figure this out. But I don't like it. I don't like it at all. The Bloodline, they're messing up right now. Judgment Day, they are starting to mess. They have messed up big time with. These were factions that were coming in pretty good, right? When Triple H took over, Bloodline was, it was running on all cylinders. Judgment Day, even after Edge and the whole idea that Edge was being taken out, that was working great too. And where are they going with that? They're in the clubhouse now. They become aces and eights. The Bloodline is the bootleg Bloodline. And now we got the Wyatt Six. The track record of the DX booking crew right now. Okay, from whatever they're doing for NXT to bring it over here, it's not working. And so the track record speaks for itself. The Wyatt Six is destined for failure. But they need to be able to know how to take care of these misfits here. These stars right here for the Wyatt Six. I wanted to do well. I do. I mean, listen, I'm not here to be cynical and just shit on this all together and say, oh, nothing's going to happen. This is all going to go bad. I don't want it to go that way. For the sole fact, I don't want Bray Wyatt's idea to get tarnished. Because once the Wyatt Six is screwed up, you're going to basically have destroyed what Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, made in his form. You're going to destroy this gimmick. Because people won't want to go ahead and see, this again. When it goes bad and people shit on it, they're not going to want to see anything Wyatt again. And Bray Wyatt will just be a memory, and that's it. Because it's not Bray Wyatt out there. They're not going to give Bray Wyatt always, no matter how bad, the story might have been and how they put things together, where they had him going up against Seth Rollins with the red light, or having the Mountain Dew Black, what was that match with LA Knight? Like, okay. We can forgive, right? And forget. Because Bray Wyatt got a pass, man. They put him in some bad matches. It was not against him. But this right here, the complete blame goes right here on this. And I don't know what to think about it, but, this can be Retribution all over again, and it will fade. It can be like Nexus, it will fade. It has all the makings to be successful. I mean, you are following a storyline. You are creating the characters, making them real life out of the Firefly Funhouse. Yes, you are doing that. The whole Five Nights at Freddy's thing, people really got into that, so that could work. But you got to keep that fantasy out of the ring. Vince Russo's right about that. You can't be putting this in the ring. You can't be putting matches with this right now. If you can, I don't even think you could try. I don't think you put anything wrestling related with this faction. I don't need to be seeing, I don't need to be seeing Sister Abigail or the Rabbit. I don't need to be seeing them in the ring. I don't need to see them having matches. We don't need that. For all the goodwill, all the, benefit of the doubt that WWE fans can give right now, for the last roughly 2 years of Triple H's tutelage, okay, We give them benefit of the doubt. But they're hitting some errors right now. Unforced errors on their part. Meanwhile, hey, Seth Rollins, Damien Priest, rocking. Eventually CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, rocking. The Cody Rhodes stuff now with the Bloodline, because they're going to have them go up against, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Yeah. Okay, I like that. That's good. Gunther, Nia Jax, destined for world title shots. Great. That's a lot of good stuff right there. Hey, Logan Paul, LA Knight. Yeah, that might work really well. I might like that too. So don't get me wrong. I got some matches that I can enjoy. Money in the Bank is always going to be a good, fun show. But some of these things they're doing right now, which encompass a lot of TV time. Damage Control after Bayley. Yeah, we need to go and break this up and be done with it. Judgment Day, it's not working. They're missing on a lot of fronts right now. Like, do we need to just get a payoff right now with Rhea and Liv and Dominik and just get done with it? Maybe Damien Priest goes away and breaks off of the Judgment Day, which would be great for him right now. I think they need to get him away from that group as quickly as possible. I need to see Damien Priest break off that group. It's time for that right now. Judgment needs to be disbanded. It really does. Badly. Bloodline, we don't know what they're going to do because we don't know when Roman Reigns is coming back. But he's not coming back anytime soon. So what's going to be the crescendo they're going to be building over here to eventually where the Roman Reigns and The Rock will be coming back and, picking their part of Bloodline and coming back into this again. That's the other part we have to go and think about too. There's a whole lot to go and consider here. So I'm concerned about it. It concerns me a lot. I can't deny that. It really does. Now, as for coming up right now, Forbidden Door, AEW, this is their pay-per-view they got coming up right now next weekend, next Sunday. It's exhibition. They are going to have some matches this time that are going to be of implications right now because they are going to have consequences. There's going to be matches that are going to matter in the AEW sense, along with what they're going to be doing with the collaboration with New Japan and CMLL for another point to that as well. So, Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, damn, that's good. Then you saw MJF, who's already dealing with Roosh. Now, Roosh wants to join John Callis, possibly. MJF and Will Ospreay are at odds with each other now. Ooh, that sounds good. I love that. John Moxley to Tetsuya Naito. That's again another standard of these two. They're going to have another great match together.
Well, no when Elon Musk paid $44 billion for X.
And then TNT Championship ladder match for the vacant TNT title. Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, and one other name yet to be announced. I love the Mercedes Moné promo leading into her match with Stephanie Vaquer for the TBS Championship and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship. I love all that. That's great. Women's World Title, the setup with Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. I'm loving that all too. The whole thing with, Mariah May. I love this whole storyline. Actually, and I love the fact to see that Saraya, Haley Cameron, and those folks came into the mix. I actually love all that part. I love the fact that Saraya is now back in here, dealing with Toni Storm and being into something more of the storyline here. I love that part. Love it. Then you got Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy. That should be great. MJF versus Hechicero. And then an Owen Hart Cup tournament match with Bryan Danielson and Shingo Takagi. And by the way, they have set things up for the Owen Hart Cup, which, that's one thing that people really do care about. And it's very interesting to have that. Some people want to go and show on the fact that, oh, look, we're going to get, we're going to go ahead and see Jeff Jarrett being put into the storyline. I get that part. I can see where people kind of be a little upset with that. I get that part. But the bracket so far, Claudio Castagnoli and Pac just won his first round match. Danielson Takagi, we'll see who the winner of that is. And on the other side, Ray Phoenix, Jay White, that should be a barn burner. And Jeff Jarrett's going to take on a wild card. We don't know who that is, but, Jeff Jarrett will not be long for this at all. Let's just put it like that. And then you go on into the women's side. It's Wonderful. Willow Nightingale, Serena Deeb. That should be fun. Statlander and Nyla Rose. So I can see where Willow and Chris will face each other in the semifinals. That'll be awesome. Then Deonna Purrazzo, Hikaru Shida. That should be a fun match. Mariah May and Saraya. They already set things up for that. That should be fun. Like, there's a lot of good right there, and see where they can go with that. There's a lot of good names they could find out of that. So Owen Hart Cup, which they will culminate in Calgary, July 10th in the tournament final. That's all fun right there. That's great. Love it. And you notice that we're not going to hear so much about the Tony Khan stuff and, like, the crapping on the storylines right now. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, what they did tonight, when they set things up for, the setup for Dynamite, and what they did with it, I liked it. Acclaim getting a chance to go and get a tag team title shot against the EVPs. Love that. Butler Chris Statlander winning over Nyla Rose, so she moves on. Willow Nightingale will eventually get up to that point. So, like, again, storylines are here. Feuds are in place. I love it. MJF getting to be back on pay-per-view again. And we're going to get Hechicero, who's the CMLL former World Heavyweight Champion. He, right now, is going to be set up in this spot, which is good. So, like I said, so far, everything that they have set up right now, AEW, hey, at least they're not, not stumbling over each other. I mean, yeah, sure, factions are not super strong right now, and they don't put a lot of consistency in terms of following on their stories to a point. I agree with that. But I'm not bored by it. They got a lot of storylines I do care about, a lot of feuds I do like a lot, and a lot of characters I like a lot. So while WWE right now is still hitting solid on all cylinders, they might be making a little bit of a little bit of their peak has already hit, because they are getting a little bit of a struggle right now where, we're hearing now that in some of the shows they've had, they haven't been able to go and close out and sell out the shows. You got things like that going on. And, things were going good for so long, but we're getting some kinks in the armor. They can be vulnerable. They got to get this shit figured out. We'll find out how they're going to do that. Anyway, come back next week for another Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.